Hello, everybody.
Everybody, I'm not
Today
Betsy.
we have a change. Um, so for those that do not know, our my regular co-host Betsy Co has been promoted into a administrative position. She is now part of team, and as such, she's had to cut back on some of her responsibilities, her former responsibilities, in order to take on her new ones. So we have a new co-host, Sandy Paddock, who I've worked with periodically in the past,
Every once in a while, like last Friday.
like last Friday, and um, so Sandy's going to be filling in for Betsy for the next several sessions, at least, I hope, and we're gonna she and I are gonna get together. We haven't had a lot of chance, but we're gonna look at maybe doing a few um, nips and tucks here and there to uh, liven things up maybe a little bit, hopefully. No, we're not going to be doing bingo, bingo, bingo.
Thank you for
We've got
laughing.
some other ideas that we're playing with, so we may see some changes in the upcoming episodes. But for today we're gonna kind of stick with our regular routine. Um, and
We should note, though,
we
Dave,
wanna,
that
mhm.
after this particular live cast, go to Discord. David's going to be in Discord. And this is kind of really a big deal. And it goes with what he just said about making some changes. So you're doing some planning for next year as well. And you're looking at global. There's some minor, like, technical, I guess, administrative changes with global going on as well. Looking for people to adopt countries. You're going to actually be on Discord right after this show.
So today I don't get on Discord a whole lot, but today I'm going to make a point of being there after the show. I have some questions that I'd like to ask, but I'm also open to hearing any kind of feedback that others have or questions. As Sandy said, right about this time of year, September or so, is time where we start planning for next year. And the global project, it's hard to believe, but we've only been a project since January, so we're only on our 9th month. And I've learned a lot of hard lessons, some things that have worked really well, others did not work so well. So it's time to kind of cut back on those things that are not working for us and boosting the things that are. But also, I want to hear if there's anything that any ideas that other people have. I have some interesting thoughts for next year. I know Sandy's given me some ideas, but we want to hear from the people that are actually using the project and also the global spotlight every month. Are you enjoying it? Are you not enjoying it? What parts do you enjoy? What parts do you not enjoy? We just want to get some feedback on that. So both the project itself and then also the monthly videos. But that'll be, I'll be on probably for at least an hour afterwards. And Sandy's put the link in there. And it's just going to be informal. Nothing real organized. Just something for us to have a chance to have direct dialogue.
It'll be good because, as we kind of lead projects on WikiTree, is sometimes we have this vision going into it and it works at the beginning. But then, as David said, you evolve and you realize that maybe tweaks could happen and some other things could happen to make it more interesting for everybody. So I could tell you with my own project, I had a vision and I've tweaked because my team leaders have kind of given me great ideas. We love ideas, don't we, David? We're always like waiting to hear what you guys would like. And what would it take for you to adopt a country if you have not already? That's the question I'm most curious about because I have not adopted a country yet. And the 3 that I was going to adopt were snapped up, I think, right after WikiTree Day last year, because that's when we did the big announcement of the global project. And I was surprised because I had 3 little ones.
And I'll remind people that were with us last year, we did the 15 Nations tour, that the global project it came about as a replacement for the 15 Nations. because I had intended to just quit at the end of the year last year, quit the 50 nations. It was becoming too much work for me to do on a monthly basis. And I thought, okay, we've done our 15 nations. Now we'll move on to something else. But people wanted something more permanent. So we came up with the global project. So the whole project is based on feedback from members. And we put it into place. And like I said, some things have worked out real well. Other things have been not as successful. So it's time again to now, as we're getting closer to the end of the year, look at next year and say what's working, what's not. And and this is both for members, but also for the leaders of the projects, the people that are managing the individual country projects. That's, I think, where we've really we're going to be stepping up our game next year, is providing more support. We got people in place, and once people are in place, they weren't sure exactly what they were supposed to do. So it was kind of difficult to get the overall global project going at the same time we're getting individual country projects going. So they kind of had to take a back seat. But I think next year we've got some ideas on how to get the individual country projects more active.
And I know, Joker, you mentioned that you're not interested in adopting country. You still want to work in your own country. But this is the beauty, I think, of the global project, as well as this particular live cast, because you get to see a little bit of a travel show. Where are we going to next? But you can also see maybe areas that you might need to research. And David goes over in the show as he showcases a different country. I know it's been helpful for me once when I needed to go research, and instead of bugging the person from the country all the time, I actually went and did it myself based on David's advice on the show. So here's the global page for those of you who have never been to it or want to go to it again and maybe don't have the link. And I do have to agree with Lisa knows as well as I do how much work David put into this last year and still doing.
Yes, I want to say thank you to Lisa, but also for those that aren't aware, we do have another co-leader now. Kylie has joined me as a co-leader of the project. She's in Australia, so she's covering the other half of the world. Makes communicating a little bit difficult since we're probably about 12 hours time difference between us. But she's taking over some of the roles also that as again we go into next year, we'll be able to divide stuff up a little bit easier and hopefully get twice as many leaders, twice as much work accomplished. So do we want to Sandy show the
video?
New video. So
we got a new video. And I'll let you tell us why.
Yeah. So one of the things that we often neglect to, I neglect to remind people of, is that we do have, in addition to the country projects, we do have our worldwide projects. Right now we have 4 of them. The Dying at Sea Project, First Responders, the Language Volunteers, and Remember the Children. So the purpose of the global project initially is to provide supervision for any small project that's up and coming that doesn't quite yet have the leadership in place, doesn't have the membership in place, is not big enough to be an independent top-level country on its own, project on its own, and still needs some support. The global project is an umbrella project that oversees all of those and helps provide them with the support that they need. So these are the 4 that we have here.
Let's show the video.
And so we're going to show a little video that Sandy's put together.
A little show and tell. And that gives
That's
you kind
really
of
cool.
an idea of where we're kind of looking at making some changes as well. Let me go ahead and stop this video. Where we're trying to make some changes as well. Actually, this isn't the video. This is the cheat, David. So this was kind of the guess of where we were going to next.
So this is today's country. So today we picked a bigger country than normal, than usual. I think usually I've tried to pick some obscure nations, but today we're going to Belgium, which is probably the biggest country in Europe that does not yet have leadership. They have a project. We do not have a Belgium leadership team in place. I'll correct that to say that we also we recently lost our Italy leadership. So we have some coordinators over in Italy, but we don't have an official leader of the Italy project either. But I do believe Belgium is the biggest country that we have without a formal leader. So if anybody's got Belgian ancestry or history and is interested in helping to coordinate, let me know and we'll see what we can work out.
And we should probably mention that Belgium did have leadership, and they had some older pages that you kept intact.
Well, yeah. So if you just scroll down right to the bottom of the first page here, and we do this with any of our countries, right there, the link to the previous Belgium project pages. So if we transfer an abandoned project or a project that might even be active, but the members are moving over to the global project, we don't delete information that's been posted prior. So some people get afraid that we're going to erase everything they've done and start over with our own templates. We don't do that. We will link directly to the old pages. Sometimes we'll cut and paste and move them over so that they're in the project format rather than a free space page. But we don't get rid of any work that was already done. That kind of defeats the purpose of what we're doing. So and there are a lot of projects out there that have never actually officially been recognized. So somebody created a free space page and maybe a couple of people joined with them, and that might have been 3 or 4 years ago. And as far as they're concerned, it's still active, but WikiTree is not necessarily aware of them. So we've run into that a couple times where we've created a page for a country and somebody pops up and says, hey, I've already got a page going. That's fine. We'll work with you and we'll get you, we'll bring you over as a new coordinator. We'll transfer all your materials over. We do want to get all of the countries official, so we don't want people to have to hunt and search the internet trying to find where their country pages are. So we want to give you some sort of official status. But again, our intention is not at all to erase the work that people have done if that comes up. I think we're kind of beyond that phase now that we've got most of the countries up. But periodically, I still, I try to do a Google search and see if there's anything that comes up. And sometimes I do, but sometimes I still miss them. So Belgium was an active project for quite a while. It was co-led under the Netherlands project for a while, is my understanding. We did transfer it over, and but we have not had any of the members that were previously with the page interested in stepping up to actually run the project. So right now the project is sitting a little bit dormant.
And it's a big country. I would love to see it, come alive a little bit more, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to show though and the reasons that we chose Belgium this time is because it had an active project previously. You'll notice if you've got experience with the global project and how our pages are set up, you're going to notice some additional things here. For example, right here with the goals, a member brought this over. So when you take leadership of a project, or even if you just join as a member, these pages are editable. You can go in and add information. You can correct information. Somebody, in fact, it was the Belgium project, when we first created it, they complained. They said it was like it was written for a junior high school class. That's exactly right. All we're providing is a template. A lot of it's cut and paste, not cut and pasted, but summarized from Wikipedia. I don't have expertise on all 199 countries of the world. When I create these pages, I don't expect them to be, or I'm not intending them for them to be a college level thesis paper. I'm writing them probably at a junior high school level, and I expect then the team to get together and boost them. Now, Belgium had a lot of information, so there's if you go to the Belgium page, you're going to find information here that's above and beyond what you're going to find on the initial templates of most of these countries. So they've already got stickers created. That's something we don't provide. We help you set those up. They've got some category links. Belgium has a lot of categories. If you adopt Kazakhstan or Turkmenistan, you're probably not going to have a lot of category links. But some of these countries like Belgium and Romania and Albania, they have a lot of category pages. They've got a notables category. They've got a cemeteries category. They've got maybe a royals category. Different categories already created. They just aren't all brought together in a single spot, which is what the purpose of the country pages are. If you want to go to click on that Belgium link there, Sandy, we'll take them to the first.
There we go.
On there, let's go.
Kingdom.
Are we on? Oh, there we are. Okay, so you can see they've added maps. I don't provide maps when I give you the template, but that's something you're free to put in. Maps add a lot of aid. We put in the administrative divisions, but somebody's come in, and I don't know who did this. Unfortunately, it's hard to track who's making the actual changes. I'd like to give them credit, but I don't know who actually added this. But it's wonderful stuff that they've put in.
It's very graphic and visual to the eye, as you can see.
And again, they complained. They said, "Oh, this is it's way too simplistic." I said, "Go in and fix it up." Now, we don't want to make it so complicated that the average viewer or member can't understand it, but go in and make it more accurate. If they're not the history, you can write a book on the history of Belgium. So we're not going to have all that information here. But go in and add things if you see that there's a piece of history that's important that's left out. Usually I try to keep this centered around things that would be genealogically important, not so much politically important. Changes of prime ministers and stuff maybe didn't have importance to the people. But if, Spain transferring it over to Austria, transferred it over to France, that's going to potentially have an impact on your family's history. So we want to get all that in here, so when you say my ancestors came over, as I'm looking on the timeline here, my ancestors came over in 1831. Well, what happened in 1831? Well, that's when Belgium broke away from the Netherlands, and so perhaps that had played some sort of role in the reason your ancestors came over. So by knowing the timeline, your family's timeline, and comparing it to the nation's timeline, it can give you some clues as to where you might find information. If we scroll down a little bit further, so they've added a diversity.
That's something that generally you don't add.
Yeah, I don't usually put that in, so somebody's added that category in there, which is fine. The languages. So now, Sandy and I were talking about this before the show. Belgium, it's not a huge country, but they've got several different languages spoken there. They have the Flemish in the north speak Dutch, and the Walloons in the south speak French, I believe. There's also a significant portion that speaks German over near the German side of the country. And the nation is divided so distinctly by those languages that they actually have separate governments for those populations. So they've got their federal government, but they also have a Dutch government and a French government and a German government. And I thought there was one other, but it's a very complicated form of government they have there. Here's something that I know Mark Lemon does, and I don't know if he's the one that put these in, but puts in the alphabets when it's different from our traditional English alphabet.
Because he does Greece. He has Greece.
He does Greece, and yeah.
That's a whole different alphabet.
Yeah, and I know he's worked some on Belgium, so he may have been behind this, but you know, so when you're reading, you know, you understand how the different letters work, what they look like, etc. Now, some languages have, you know, are similar enough that you can figure them out, but some have quite complicated. Like Sandy said, the Greek project is, you know, their alphabet is quite different from what many of us are used to reading.
And I agree with Darren. This page has a lot of interesting ideas that you could steal for your own page. And actually, I'm thinking about borrowing some of these ideas for my one place study page as well. I mean, I can see that being used in multiple places throughout WikiTree, but they did do a really nice job of doing the graphical map, so you could kind of get an idea of where you're looking at.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned the one place studies. In some ways, the country pages are like giant one place studies. You're not doing so much, you know, every person, but you know, the way they're set up, there's a lot of similarities between the two.
Do you want to talk about notables next?
We can talk about notables because they've also done some upgrades to the notables section from when I first had
notable Belgiums, and I always like this. So just so you guys know, usually when you get a project page, David has kind of created a little table of people. And if you're familiar with Bingo, this should look kind of similar to Bingo as well, because David creates those tables for us.
Yeah, the same formatted table.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's really great because, as you can see, one is connected here, one isn't. But the reason why I like this is that you kind of show us a little bit of how we can expand. We can create more notables here. And we're looking at a king and a prime minister.
The king and the prime minister. So every country is given to you with the head of state and head of government. Sometimes it's the same person. But we always provide those. They're both going to be living individuals. So you may not be able to access them, but nonetheless, we want you to have the information as to who's leading the country. And the notables that I provide, this is not a challenge. So I don't take into consideration whether they're connected or not, or what their CC7s are. I'm not asking anybody to do anything with these notables. I just want people to see some of the famous faces that come from each of these countries. Some countries like Belgium, some of the Western European countries, you're going to recognize a lot of faces, but you'll be surprised when you get into some of the more obscure countries, how many famous people you actually recognize from, that come from all over the world. Now, the difference with Belgium is we have quite a few notables. Some of the countries I really struggle to find any notables for. When you've got a small country that has not been, maybe so active in the Western world for long, they're not going to have the movie stars and the sports heroes, and they usually their famous people are going to be limited to their political leaders. But that's changing. But then we're getting into mostly people that are still living. They're not going to have historical famous figures. But as I said, you'll be surprised how many there are. Usually I try to put between 5 and 10, but somebody or some group of people have gone in and added a whole lot more here. So we've actually got them broken now into categories, going all the way back to Charlemagne.
Yeah, this is, and you know, Charlemagne is a popular topic on WikiTree. He is one of the ones that everybody tries to connect to.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
really cool.
most people, I think, are probably descended from him at some point. But we've got a bunch of authors, we've got artists. And again, you've got connected and not connected. So if you just want to have some fun and try to connect one of these, it's a good way to practice your skills. But as I said, this is not set up as a challenge. So whether they get connected or not, that's up to the team. If you take on a country project, you're free to create a challenge, and if you need help, I can help you get it up on G2G. That's part of what Kylie and I do as the global team leaders. Help you out with all those things, but it's up to you to decide what you want to do. And then if you need help, you let us know and we help you get it set up. We've got a couple projects right now. I know Kenya has got a G2G post up, and there's a few others as well. Jean-Claude Van Damme has 0 relatives.
He just poof magically appeared on this earth. I bring it up also because Irish/Welsh John mentioned him earlier, and this is really cool. Now I got to tell you, personally, I love going through the country pages and looking at the notables and seeing some, because some I might not realize. I did not realize he came from Belgium. Thank you, John, for that. I did not realize that. So this is really it's kind of
and I get amazed every time I do a country, and I think, you know, who in the world comes from this country? And I do a little Google search, and I'm amazed at the names that pop up. People I had no idea.
I mean, we're talking about this. Belgium created the physicist who I can't say it now, but the Big Bang Theory. Let's just say the Big Bang Theory. I mean, and that's so cool when you go through, and if you happen to manage this project, this is something that you can also do to promote. So as David said, you can promote through G2G and definitely recruit fellow Belgians, fellow lovers of chocolate, Belgium chocolate, fellow lovers of Belgium or researchers about Belgium, to join your team and work together. The one thing that would be really cool to have this particular guy connected is he could be on a featured profile of the week, and then so several WikiTreeers could actually connect to him. And you know what? You and your team from the country actually helped create that and made that possible, because right now it's not possible. If he's not connected and he doesn't have a little bit of CC7, then other people can't connect to him, and that would be really cool. You know, we talk about the featured people all the time, but I am amazed. How many of you are amazed at these notables from Belgium? I never knew.
Yeah, Adolf Sachs is going to be appearing in a future bingo. I don't know if Sandy can figure out which bingo. She doesn't know off if he's going to be there, but Adolf Sachs, inventor of the saxophone.
I know. I was just getting ready to say.
Yeah, which one it is? Okay, yeah.
It's called our In a Name, all in a name bingo.
Okay.
And he's from Belgium?
He's from Belgium.
He's from Belgium.
The other thing, and I always tell people on with my notables hat on, that the value of connecting these notables, if we can get these Belgian notables connected, other people with Belgian roots have an increased chance of connecting their own families. So it isn't just about the fact that these people are famous, but they have families that number in the hundreds, and you know, we get all of those people on, we can eventually start connecting people without having to connect to the United States or to England. But we can just connect them directly through Belgium if we have a couple thousand Belgian profiles up there.
And you never know who you connect through either. You know, we like to say that we don't think we have any Belgians in our line or who we connect to, but that might be only because we don't have a lot of Belgians on WikiTree yet. So if you are able to, adding more Belgians, like David said, in the families, that helps get us connected globally. And that's really what this is about, isn't it, David? Your global project is about expanding truly outside our normal.
It's about expanding the tree. You know, some of it is about attracting members from across the globe. We'd like to get some new members. And my feeling has always been, if I'm from Ethiopia and I come on and I see that WikiTree has nothing on Ethiopia, I'm going to leave. But if I see they have something on Ethiopia, I might stick around, add my own family, and before you know it, we got a little Ethiopian project going on. And that goes for, every country of the world. But the other thing is just, even though most of us, America in particular, most of us come from somewhere else. And it's not always one of the big 5 or 6 nations. England, you can go to the bookstore and find all kinds of books on England, Germany, France, Sweden. But if your family comes from the Middle East, if your family comes from Asia, Africa, Latin America, you're not going to find resources. So just having those resources available to people when they come on WikiTree, I think, is really going to boost WikiTree's profile in the genealogy community.
So I'm not going to do this here because I think she goes through a living line of mine, but I'm going to drop this famous Belgium's link in the chat, and you all can tell me how you connect, because I just said 5 minutes ago, I bet you didn't think you had a connection to Belgium, but I bet you do. And
right. Now, see, I have Belgian DNA, but I have no idea where it comes from, and I've traced all of my lines back, way past the U.S., but somehow I get Belgian in there.
And I gotta tell you, I mean, if you have not seen an Audrey Hepburn movie, or you must be 5 years old and haven't had the opportunity yet, because everybody, I think, has seen an Audrey Hepburn movie.
I've seen it one more,
And I've seen so many, but I still got to go back to Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I was just going to ask you what your favorite is.
Yeah, every single time. So if you guys have a favorite Belgium, let us know. If you got a favorite Belgium chocolate, let us know. If you got a favorite movie of the Belgium named Audrey Hepburn, then let us know. But isn't that cool to know that there's a country that when you started watching the show a little bit ago, you thought you had nothing to do with Belgium, and I bet you've had some chocolate, and I bet you've seen an Audrey Hepburn movie. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you can go to the notables, Belgian notables list and find out how you're related, to all of those Belgian notables. I wanted to make a comment. If you go back to the list of notables.
Okay. Let's see, to the main list?
Yeah, to the list we were
over
to the table.
Yeah. Let me take the banner.
This is something I wanted to point out. I've asked for assistance with this in the past, and if you scroll down just a little bit to the next table, the sports figures. So you'll notice there's a missing picture there. If you ever see one of my tables, whether it's on a global project or a notables project, and there's a missing picture, let me know, because since I have special access capabilities to these pages, I get to see all the pictures. And when there's one missing, I see it even though nobody else can. So I will never know that picture is missing unless somebody tells me. And the reason that it's missing is because it's a living person, and if you connect directly to the profile, to the picture on a living notables page, it will not show up. Because it's considered private. But usually what I do is I have a separate page that I can put images on and link to that is not private, and then they will show. But sometimes I miss that, and the pictures don't show up, and it's not until we go on air that I see.
You see it.
I see that it's missing.
Okay,
so please don't hesitate to let me know if you see something missing from you.
So I guess we should, before we move on too much further, let me go ahead and bring up Charlemagne, and I'll go ahead and put this link in the chat too, because like I said, this is a big topic on all of WikiTree. And I know this because in just this year alone, for some odd reason, I have gotten 2 private messages, 2 emails from WikiTree saying, hey, did you know that you were connected to Charlemagne? And I just thought it was odd. It was just somebody who reached out to me that saw either me on a LiveCast or Hangout or something like that. And they just reached out just to say hi and say, by the way, did you notice that you were related to Charlemagne? So that's your next quest, everybody, is are you related? And how do you connect to Charlemagne? And I would say Charlemagne has got to be probably the oldest Belgium I know of. What about you, David?
Do you know how you're connected, Sandy?
I think I'm connected through a living person.
Oh,
so that's
you don't know how many generations?
No.
Charlemagne is my 35th great grandfather.
Let's see. So, 34th.
Oh, 34th. Okay.
Wait a second. That's pretty cool. That means I'm older than you then. How's that?
Yeah, you're
you in a different
you're what we call the older generation, yes.
Went through the different line. So, 38. I didn't expect that. Okay, see, this is a perfect reason why we need to work on more global profiles so we can get your Who connected to Charlemagne so you can get some emails as well that said, did you know? And here we go. It's, wow, oh, Mel, not related, but maybe connected, right? And I like this. Is, of course, Lisa's direct ancestor. I like that. You guys are having fun tonight.
Yeah, I thought everybody was just... Well, you know what? I bet you all are directly descended. You just have to get your links up there. Yeah.
Okay, and so that kind of discussed the people. Do you have? We can go through resources.
Resources here.
Tips for us.
So the resources, we start with the standards. I do the same for every country: Wikipedia, Family Search, Ancestry, Cindy's List, World Gen Web, U.S. Library of Congress, and then the National Archives and the National Library. What's after that was all added on by members. So the State Archives of Belgium, the Family Search,
this is really
specific,
great too.
And then other projects on Wikipedia. I meant on WikiTree. They're conducting similar research.
Oh, here we go. Okay, we're connected. We're not related, but we're connected, and that is the winner of the longest connection of the night to Charlemagne. I don't think anybody's going to miss that one.
42 degrees.
So this is kind of, so again, if I don't know how to search for a Belgium connection, ancestor, anything that I'm researching for Belgium, I can come to the country page and it's under resources, and the tabs are all named the same throughout the countries, right, David? So
they start out again, the template, they all start out the same, but if you look at the tabs on this one, we've got a to-do list that members have added. So we can add additional tabs if somebody has something that they want to work on. If they want to do a cemeteries tab or a whatever topic they may want to come up with. It can be just informational, or it can be part of a sub project. Anything that people can think up. If as long as somebody wants to oversee it and create it, then we can do that.
I'm even thinking ahead too. Like you said, sometimes the countries are almost like a one-place study page. They're not, but they almost are similar in a lot of ways. And I'm thinking how I can incorporate some of these ideas. I like the visual of the flags, on my one-place study. If you've got a multicultural one-place study. And David and I were talking about dinner earlier. So just so you know, it was truly a Belgium who created credited with bringing the Belgian waffles to the United States. And once we got them over here, we made sure to eat plenty of them and still do. And that'll be my next question, since we always talk about food. What do you put on your Belgian waffle? Mine's easy, strawberries, whipped cream every time.
Yeah, it just depends on my mood.
I like this. They are frequently on menus as Belgian waffles.
All right, so I have a trivia question.
Okay.
So Belgium has the second tallest men in the world.
The second tallest man in the
second
world? Belgium.
Tallest men. No, on average.
On average.
The men in Belgium are the second tallest in the world.
Huh.
So who wants to guess where the tallest men in the world come from? You have about 198 options to choose from.
I know. Same here. For some reason, I really want to say China because I'm thinking basketball, but I think that was an anomaly. So,
yeah, I don't think
yeah.
Chinese are known for their height necessarily.
So the tallest, give us a continent. How about that?
It's in Europe.
Oh, it's in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, see, I would have guessed Africa.
Europeans. We got a few Europeans here, so let's see if they can help us out. Can I dial a friend?
You can do whatever you want except Google.
Except Google. Well, okay, let's take Darren's. Netherlands. There you go. Netherlands. And we got Greece.
As usual, Darren got it correct.
And, there we go.
Darren needs to go on Jeopardy.
Okay, Darren, if you do go on Jeopardy and you get any type of genealogy things, then you got to share the prize winning with us. That is pretty cool. I like this. Yeah, so is that our tour of Belgium?
That's all I know about Belgium.
No. But I've learned a lot already. I hope you guys have too, at least with Belgium. So you know that if you need to research the area, then you could easily come to the page and see the resources, but also check out the notables. I'm still kind of amazed that I didn't know Charlemagne was Belgium. I do have one small piece of trivia that I hope nobody from France is here from, or, I don't know, maybe the Americans, but David and I were talking about this beforehand too, because we weren't sure. So did you all know that the Belgians are credited with creating the French fry? So apparently late 17th century, they were frying strips of potatoes, which I think that classifies as French fries. And if we do have somebody here that's from France, I'm so sorry. Don't hold it against me. That we did fact check it in 3 places to make sure that it was true. Okay, so yes, Darren knew.
And I don't know the history of the French fry, but
I know I like it.
But I just thought they came from McDonald's. I didn't know but it does go into the fact that the countries that we know today were not necessarily the countries of days gone by. So when your family says they immigrated from this place or that place, it may not be the place that we think of. And Belgium, they've got roots going back to, Julius Caesar talked about the Belgians. So as a tribe of people, they go way back. But as a nation, they really only go back to the early 1800s. I think 1813 was when they broke from the Netherlands. So there's the history, there's the political boundaries, but they weren't always the same. So when you hear that your family was from France and they came over in 1800, well, maybe that part of France was actually what we now consider the Netherlands or Belgium or somewhere else. So you got to be real careful. We talked in a previous episode about finding the village or the town that your ancestors came from. And that's why it's important, because you can, I have an adopted sister who is, her DNA says she's basically 100% German, but we know for a fact that her family all came from France. Because again, the boundaries changed. So she says Germans living in what is now France. Another relative of mine has ancestors that came from Ukraine, but it wasn't Ukraine when they came there. They're Ukrainian, but they're from Poland. And so, all of that. And people in Europe know that history, but I think we don't always get taught that in the United States. So you got to be real careful, the name of the place that your ancestors came from may not be what it is today, and it may not culturally be what it is or what it sounds like. So just be careful about that.
You know what would be cool though is if somebody on your country page, if you adopted a country in the global project, to kind of have that timeline of maps as well, so you can visually see so much this generations coming up, and even my older generations like my mom, they prefer the visual than the text sometimes. So having both is kind of handy as well. I can see a lot of interesting country pages being created as well. Well, is that a wrap then, David?
Well, it's a wrap, I think, for the video segment.
Okay.
And now, as we said, we're going to go over to Discord. And again, nothing formal. I just want to hear any ideas, any suggestions. If people just want to chit chat, that's fine too. But I have some questions I'm going to throw out and see what kind of feedback I can get from people. So head on over there, and Sandy's put the link up for you. So just click on it, and it should take you straight over.
Definitely head over. And again, if you have any questions about global, or if you want to adopt a country but you're unsure, David can answer every question that you have about it. And also, you're going to talk about maybe tweaking this live cast a little bit to see what you guys want, see about maybe some guests or things like that, and go forward and see what you guys want, what you guys like. What are you guys looking for? So this is a good question. Is it going to be Discord, text, or audio, David?
Oh, it's going to only be text. We did the audio with our party a couple weeks back, and it drove me bonkers. So I'm not going to. I won't be able to follow the conversation if I'm doing audio.
And if you go over to Discord and you have a question, just start it with a Q : so David will know it's a question other than a comment, and that'll help kind of your question stand out so he can answer it a little bit quicker and it doesn't get lost. But thanks for letting me join you on the Global LiveCast. And I guess
thank you for joining us, Sandy.
We'll be here next month, and we're not telling you who's going to be the country because we'll figure that out. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye-bye. And I'll give me about 5 minutes, and I'll be logging on.
There we go.
Okay.
Bye.